Hello, friends. Twitches. What are people called in this? Don't know. Let me know how we go with the picture quality, if there's any issues. Oh, thanks, Dr. Flink. Hi, Topulus. So I'm trying a slightly new camera setup, so you might be able to see my melon a bit better in the webcam. Hello. And maybe see this a little bit better as well. Oh, good, thanks, Benny. Don't know why that is doing that in my streamo. Oh well. G'day, Cellarizer. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm sure it's close enough. I try to. I mean, it depends on the model and the atmosphere that I'm trying to convey. In this case, this model is supposed to be in a foresty sort of natural environment, and so by having greenish tones throughout the model, it helps harmonize it and make it feel like it's in the one environment. So It depends on models, which models arrive in the post. At the moment, I mean, I've got the Lady of the Lake sitting there primed and ready to go from Carol Rudick, so I may look at doing that one. But I'm really keen to get started on my Echoes of Camelot project. It's going to be quite a extensive project. I'm going to try and incorporate all 13 models into the one diorama on a rotating table, so that'll be fun. That'll probably take me a month or two. So that's the project I'm sort of most excited to dive into next, but the models don't think they've been sent yet, so they're probably still over a month away. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up. I did just get a couple of other models. Oh, when did yeah? I think the last update I read, they were still sort of hoping to send out in January. G'day, Dr. Flink. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I think they're still not far away from being sent, at least. So, hope so anyway. It's the project I'm very, very excited about. But it arrives when it arrives. I've got a couple of Mindworks Games models sitting over there, which I might pull out. Lost Note, maybe. That one with the chick playing the harp. Ah, yes, Scully. It's an awesome model. The model version or the bust? Oh, actually, I don't know if they have a bust of that guy, do they? I'm thinking of Sharky. Scully's the yeah, he's like a turtly looking guy, isn't he? Yeah, that's what I thought too, Topulus. I chipped in for $1, and then in the end I decided that there wasn't any that really. There was two that I liked. The little dude on the rooster thing, like the little cavalry guy, and the big robot thing. I liked both of those, but in the end, I I felt like I might just wait until they were released down the track if they were, and if not, I'd just buy it in the second-hand market somehow. There'd be someone such as yourself who would purchase it and change their mind. Hey GT. Yeah, full scale. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, awesome model. I love all the Big Childs models. They do really awesome models. They're probably my favourite. Oh, that's a hard thing. That's a hard statement to make. Who my favourite manufacturer is? I like so many. Black Crow, Black Sun, Big Child, Chimera. It'd probably be one of those four. Nocturna, and one of those five. I don't think I'll be at SMC this year, mate. Australia's pretty strict on the old border control at the moment, and so I don't even think we can fly out of the country at the moment without a specific work-related reason. So I'm sort of hoping to get there for 2022 is what I'm aiming for, which would be, I'd love to. It was a great time last year, but yeah, just I don't see it happening, unfortunately. Yeah, really superb casting. It's one of the best casters in the game. Are either Cyprian Negrout, I think is his name. He does a lot of the casting for pretty much everyone other than the Big Child casting. Big Child do the casting for quite a few companies. Chummers, Chum Dabs, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome. Lucas actually does his own casts, I believe, or at least he has a Spanish friend that does them. Big Child doesn't do Lucas casts, but I don't think Cyprian does them either. Broken Toad do a fairly good cast as well. Black Sun actually started using Broken Toad for their casting recently. Yeah, I'm trying to get a better angle so you can look at my melon. I actually rejigged my whole painting desk yesterday. Just trying to optimize the streaming angle so I can paint normally. Yeah, the cricket's on, mate. I'll just move the TV up a little bit higher so hopefully you can't hear it, but I can still hear it. The Melbourne Renegades versus the Melbourne Stars. Grudge match. Thanks, chum. You talking about me or the model, mate? I'm going to take it that you're talking about me. Thanks, mate. Yeah, been working out. Went for a run today. Easy. Awesome. Yeah, Cyprian does some really awesome casting. I didn't know that. Thank you, Cellariza. I assume you're talking about the eyes on this model. I actually painted those on the stream the other night, so you want to watch it happen live, go and watch the other stream. I don't know which day it was. The last one I did, I think. Celery ZA. Ah, cool. The texture on the cloth, the cloak here, that is sculpted on the model. So, I did promise some more show and tell. So, I'm going to grab out 2 models for you tonight. Let's see what we get. Get excited. Alright, so this first model is the actual first model I bought for my collection. It is from Krzysztof Kovalchuk, and it is the Nocturna bust. Her name is Estelle. She is pretty simple, subtle model, but the lighting effect on this was what drew me to the model. This is, as I said, the first model I bought. I think I never really considered buying models before I saw this one, and I remember I just wanted to have a look at it in the hand and understand how he'd done what he'd done. Bit of dust on it. So, he actually wrote a painting article on this model, where he talked about the lighting and how he took it from this bright, intense light and then back to the cold light. I think this is a really cool angle to look at it from. You get to see that. Yeah, so that was the first model I bought. I'm going to try zooming in here so you can actually get a real close up of the painting, because it is just subtle as shit. Yep. So, Red Ave Miniature Painter on Instagram, I think he is. Krzysztof Kovalchuk. Super nice guy too. Met him at SMC and got to talk to him about miniature painting. It was awesome. So, cool dude. Alright, next piece, and last one for tonight, is by Ben Corre, who's a Pommy. And I went to Monte Sansovino for the first time in 2018. Entered in the Masters category and didn't win anything. But this model was on display at Monte, and I'm a big fan of Nurgle. It's probably one of the only fantasy things that stayed true. I just love Nurgle models, particularly some of the new ones. And so one thing that really jumped out to me on this was just how well Ben sort of used this lighting down the bottom here. It gives you a really consistent feel to the model. You can see where the light's coming from. Feels really really cohesive as a model. The colours are sort of quite different for me for Nurgle. The blue and the red, I think, is interesting colours, and and the quality of his painting is really, really sublime. So I just loved it, and I asked him at 2018 Monte Sansovino if I could buy it, and he said yes. And then 2019 I ended up picking it up from him. So let's zoom in a little bit for you. So yeah. That's tonight's show and tell. Gone too far. There we go. Very good. Yeah, the little eyeballs on the sticks. Yeah, yeah, it's a cool little dude. I love him. Yeah, I've got probably another 15 models to go in show and tell, so that'll become the highlight of my streams, no doubt. Not hard though to be the highlight of my stream. So I'm just doing the texturing on the leather. One thing on the leather that I do is I over contrast because I'm going to bring it back with some glazes after this. So I use quite a bright light for the texturing, and then using some chestnut or whatever colour I decide to use tonight to make the leather a little bit more harmonious and so forth. Don't do that, adamantium. Get in there, son. Have a crack. Celery, my good friend, I have painted many Spiro Mirabilis miniatures. I have a number of them sitting over in my cabinet, ready to go. Should I do show and tell? I should do show and tell again. I love showing off the fact that I've got those models. But I painted one, the Dwarf Miner, only a couple of days ago, and I haven't sent him off to his new owner yet, so I'll go and grab him out for you to have a look at in a second. The first ever Spiro Mirabilis miniature that I ever purchased was the Elf Rider. I don't know if you remember that one. That was the first one I painted too. I just loved it, fell in love with the model. Yeah. And then I ended up tracking down a few of the other models, fortunately, through a variety of avenues. Adamantium, this model, because it's a female, it sort of probably tucks on an extra hour or two over what it normally takes, but I normally do something like this in about 4 to 5 hours. We're coming up on the 5th hour now, so she will be probably more like 6 or 7 because I want to do some cool stuff. But yeah, I tend to be relatively quick with painting stuff, so if you're talking about Mama Booho, yeah, I painted one of her. She was expensive as shit, but yeah, look, here's my pride and joy, my absolute pride and joy. So I've got this one, which is the elf lady, or sorry, the old witch lady, the latest one. And then I've also got the 3 witches. So this was limited to 113, which is pretty amazing. And those are just iconic. That for me, they're the most iconic Lucas sculpt out there. I have paid a lot of money for those and love them to bits. They're my favourite one. Also got this old lady with the cup, the bowl. Awesome. And then just this little old bad boy. Just this little bad boy. The original and the best Baba Yaga. 37 made. So, don't know if I'll ever paint that one. Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let me go and grab my little dude. Yeah, I love old models. Adam, I just love them to bits. They are so expressive and yeah, awesome. So this is the Dwarf Miner. Did him in 5 hours. Yeah, little idiot. Look at him, his stupid face. Blep, 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 blep. Yes, he was fun. That's alright, mate. I might, when I'm having a small painting break, grab some pictures of some of the other ones I've done for you. Load them up on my pictures if I can figure out how to do it. I'm pretty good at Twitch streaming, you may have noticed. Pro Twitch streamer these days. Oof, 7 dwarfs, yeah. I was saying on my stream the other night to Ben, I do this thing where I look at Lucas's models and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, but I don't know, maybe I probably don't know if I want it. And then invariably, like a few days after everyone starts getting their copies, I regret my decision to not purchase. And the 7 Dwarves is one of those exact situations. I chose not to purchase it, thinking, yeah, I don't know if I'm feeling it. And then I now have fallen in love with it, just like I fell in love with the fucking pirates, stupid pirates. The Alchemist is a great model too. So yeah, it's so annoying, Trogdor. Burninating the countryside, burninating the presents. Change up the lyrics there. Burninating presents. If you hate Christmas, you can use that. I reckon the 7 faces, would be the best thing about it and the worst thing about it, because you'd get to sort of incorporate different textures and colors into the skin tones of the different guys, but then at the same time you're doing 7 of them. So if you're not used to painting a lot of things like I am, it would be pretty challenging, I reckon. For the 3 witches, I probably paid more than I should have because I wanted them. There was only 113 ever made, so I think I ended up paying about 600 Australian dollars, so about 20 cents American. That was in the second-hand market, and yeah, I just think you don't get many opportunities to buy them. Take it from me, I was looking for about 12 months. Well, that used to be the thing, that there was a period there where people would buy Lucas's sculpts and then just resell them when nuffies like me came around and missed out on previous ones, but it's because he's become quite popular these days. You don't get as much value out of doing that now for the scammers. So it's actually really clever business model for him. I mean, he makes his money for his sculpts before anyone can recast them. So he's sort of got a captive market, a captive price, and he makes his profit, and then he goes. And then if people choose to recast it after that, first of all, they're a recast, and secondly, he's already made his money. He's not sort of losing out by people doing recasts of his models. $460, is it? Fuck. I do like them though. We can touch it all. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he ever had any specific problems, and maybe he was preemptively making a decision about his business model, or maybe it just happened that to be sort of happenstance. But I think he's just marketed his brand as one off, and that's it. And that's just one of the only ways you can get around recasters, unfortunately. Yeah, awesome move. And like financially for him as well, not just for us as consumers. It's a great move for him. He gets to sell more of his product and free him up to sculpt more cool models. So win-win for everyone. Coolio. I've got Trogdor in my head now. Dominating the countryside. I was thinking I might do something fractionally different with this leather, so maybe I might try that. Can use a scale, Vallejo Model Air as a glaze instead of the ink. Let's see how that works. Let's try it in a non-important area first. So I like using the Model Air range for this sort of glazing because of the way the paints are formulated for airbrush use. They use different binders and stuff, which generally results in a better glazing result than you get from a normal diluted paint. So I just use a bit of Joe Sonia Magic Mix and dilute the paint, and then you just do a couple of thin layers. This is a problem. This area is one colour. Yeah, I've got quite a few scale 75 colours over there as well. I'm particularly a fan of the Scale Fantasy range, which is their slightly more satin range. Really like them. Yeah, if you can't get Joe Sonia Magic Mix, I think someone told me Lamian Medium, the Games Workshop one's actually not too bad, but I've never tried it, so I can't confirm or deny. Give it a try. I've never tried it. So the only issue with this colour is it's just a bit too similar to the fur, so I might just add some chestnut as well. Yeah. Burninating the peasants. Tractor. So tonight's fun painting lesson thing that I'm going to do. The other night's one was eyes. We're going to try and do some non-metallic metal tonight on stream. I did this bit on stream, but I wasn't sort of explaining why I was doing it. So we've got a couple of these little circular rings that we're going to try and do. So I'll explain that. Mate, celery, we live in Australia, pal. It is very dry. Very dry indeed. So use a medium. Will help significantly. $42 is pretty tidy, Jeffy. I don't think we're anywhere near that amount. Azza! 80-20 every day. What time is it over in beautiful Perth today, mate? It's about 5:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful time to get on Twitch and watch a bit of Big Deno at work, pal. Jeffy, what's the humidity? What's the humidity like in Perth at the moment? You're usually on the weather app. Perth's normally the most dry heat in Australia. Brisbane's usually quite humid. Yeah, 95% great humidity. So, all right, hairdryer coming on. Sorry in advance. Oof. flashing shot from Larkin. All right. What with all the animals trying to kill us as well. Nah, it's the best. It's the best country. Love it here. Yeah. We don't pay great rates generally, no. But it's not as bad as you think generally. Especially now. Mm. Alright, let's do some non-metallic metal. Okay. Non-metallic metal. So, the key with painting non-metallic metal is, from my perspective, my technique, two things. The first is that the metal needs to reflect the colours of the surroundings. And so that should dictate the colours that you use to highlight with. And secondly, the placement of the lights is the key. So these rings, so if we look at the lighting on the rest of the model, we can see that the light is coming from this direction. It's hitting here, here, hitting the top of the boobies there. It's a bit better. From there down, like that. So when we look at these rings, we need to consider where the light is going to hit the rings. And so it's going to hit in the top here. And it's also going to hit down the bottom because the light's coming like this. So we get to do some highlighting here. We get to do some highlighting here. And then we'll do some reflective light on this side, which will be of the green in the surrounding environment. So I'm also going to do a little bit of tweaking on this. So we'll proceed. Next, not sure, mate. Probably the Lady of the Lake. I have it here. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I heard that actually that Kalinsky Sable were banned in the US. If you don't, get the right papers for them. Possibly, yeah. Cool, so the colours that we're going to use to highlight this non-metallic metal, because we've got a lot of warm colours, so we're going to use a yellow to highlight the metal, but we start with a bluey black, and then we add successive bits of yellow to it. We are going to use some glazes and so forth to tweak this as we go, but let's do this little spot here. So the light is going to catch in this section because it's coming from down like that, and then it's also going to hit this bottom section here. The same with this bad boy, and depending on the object, and this is the probably the hardest part of painting non-metallic metal, how you highlight the object is basically the only thing that matters. If you highlight it correctly, it will look like metal. If you highlight it incorrectly, it will not look like metal and it will look like dog shit. So the placement of the lights is the most important thing. I generally do some research on objects. Probably the best reference for circular objects, circular non-metallic metal objects, is Captain America's shield. If you go and look at any pictures from the Marvel movies of Captain America's shield, you will see the way that shiny metal reflects, and it is legit. So because it's quite a small space, I don't need to go through a lot of steps of highlighting. We're just going to do it quite rough. Rough. Oh yes, here. Good pickup, Jeff. Boop. Boop, boop. Boop. So the important thing with metal looking like metal, again, this is the method I use, not necessarily the correct way or a good way, but it's making sure that there is a lot of contrast between the light and the dark. So even though it's in a small space, you need to go from black or very close to black all the way up to a white or very close to white. Yep, indeed, Dr. Flink. One of my favourite references is actually artwork. When I went overseas and visited a couple of the great art galleries and museums, looking at the way that medieval painters painted metallic surfaces is just, I mean, that's the original non-metallic metal, isn't it? So just seeing the way they do that is really cool. So we're going to go up to pure yellow next, but then we're going to do a few little tweaks. So again, as I said, the placement of the highlights is the thing that will sell it as metal, and the way that painting non-metallic metal is actually one of the most fun things to do. The thing that you have to sort of do, which is awesome fun, is work out where the light's going to bounce around. So, you know, from this, we've actually got the light bouncing from the ground and reflecting from underneath. From this one, reflecting on top from this one. These are not the best of examples, but when you are doing big metal plates, or indeed this axe blade, can be a lot of fun. Oh, that was a bit much. Cool. So because this is a green ambient environment, we're going to add some of this bad boy. And the green's mostly coming from this direction. So we're going to mostly add the green tones from there. It is a heavy wash, yeah, but I dilute it quite a lot using the Magic Mix and be a little bit more precise. So you don't have to use it as just a wash. I mean, this is again like that Vallejo Model Air, because of the way the contrast paints, the binder and the pigments that they use, it tends to work really well as a strong coloured glaze. And then the final stage would be to do a little pop of highlight, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be doing some more airbrushing, and I want to save the light till after I've completed all the airbrushing. Whoa, spraying water everywhere. Woohoo! Okay, so I'll just make sure that dries up. So the airbrushing, I'm going to focus on this little melon down here. So I just did some pretty stark highlights. I'm going to try and smooth those out a bit, add some colour. Chum Dubs, mate, I've got a very unique aesthetic. I only wear collared shirts. Chris Stratford will tell you all about that. Hank shit at me all the time because I never wear anything but collared shirts. I think I own maybe 2. Alright, so let's start with a little bit of duck egg green. What a cool name colour. Did Stratty tee up for that, mate? He did, didn't he? He's like, yeah, ask Deno if he's got any collared shirts, mate. Yeah, I don't believe a word of it. So duck egg green. So we're using this to smooth the roughness of the highlights that I put in, but not all the way. I want to leave a little bit of interesting texture there as well, and add some greenness. don't need to provide proof, mate. It's my stream, so I can just make sweeping allegations and they can be true. It's the best thing about being the boss. Yeah, the head's actually super legit. I wonder if Big Child will release a head. That'd be cool. Alright, so we're going to do a little bit of a scale fantasy colour, I think. And we're going to pick this one. I'm just picking these at random. So the reason I've chosen a scale fantasy is because they're slightly transparent. And I don't want to be covering as much as I was with that existing lazy thing that I just did before. The thing I want from the severed head is I want it to be a different feeling to the rest of the piece. So you can see there's a lot of warm orangey colours. I want this to be a bit more red and a bit more grey. So the cool thing about the airbrush is you just get to work and refine in and out, and you can so that's a sneaky way of doing veins, by the way. That was Mayhem Red. And now we're going to use a little bit of contrast paint. My favourite colour at the moment, Volupus Pink. So this one is a glaze and will act as a translucency. Bloop, 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 bloop. There you go. Oh, thanks Brush for Hire. I'm a huge fan of your work. So I've gone back to the duck egg green and I've mixed a little bit of the whatever was still in the cup. It's a cool way of just keeping a little bit of harmony in there as the colours, when you do that backflow, they mix a little bit together. So there's still a little bit of pink in there. But I do need to dry that quickly with the hair dryer. And now this one is just going to bring a little bit of the high value back in. So I'm actually going to turn the brush down a smidge so we get a slightly more controllable stream. How's that? Yeah, okay, need to be there. Cool, cool, cool. So I may go back and add a few more nuances after I've done some brush work. That'll do for that. So the way that I use the airbrush for most of my work is to smooth out rough highlights. So you can use the way that the airbrush works and atomizes the paint and spatters it across the model to soften transitions. And it's a really quick technique, and it's why you'll usually see me use quite a rough coats, because I can always smooth it off down the track. So we'll just do some quick highlighting with ice yellow, and I'll just get a little bit of that duck egg green. Yeah, you can do it without an airbrush, Celery. You don't need to do it with an airbrush. The airbrush obviously speeds it up. It isn't necessary. The most important thing is the direction of the stroke when you're using glazing with a brush. So gonna do some blood effects. Mate, I think that's the way everyone thought was the way to become a really, really great painter, is the layers and the lots of time. Because I certainly started in that space as well. One of my painting mentors, Glenn Lamprecht, I talked about him on a stream the other week, was that was his approach. He just used to sit there meticulously over and over, layer after layer, building up those beautiful smooth transitions. And back in the day, that was sort of the way that you achieve those results. But yeah, there's been a bit of a renaissance, probably not the right word, of different techniques, different approaches, and the sketching lets you develop the concept of the model much, much quicker, and allows you to sort of refine from there without having to spend 4 hours painting a foot. Yeah. But anything's a confidence thing, isn't it? Anything's about practice and repetition. The more you practice, the better you get. Smoothing the hard edges is literally the easiest thing in the world to do. I think that's a common misconception. That's the easy part. one thing I was shown very early on when I was trying to improve the display painter is just if you take a model outside from your normal painting light with just some rough glazing or some rough sketching done, and you sort of squint your eyes a little bit, you can actually sort of see what the model's going to look like. Your eyes naturally blur it together, and so you can tell if you've got enough contrast, if you've got enough various bits and pieces, and that's how I approached sketching early on. Was I would do a real rough sketch, and then I'd pull it out from here and squint like this, and you'd be able to tell if your model was looking good. I have no plans. Very rarely do I go into anything with a plan. I think that's because this is not a job or a career for me. This is a fun thing for me, and so I find it super fun to just, this will sound a bit wanky, but to let the model evolve naturally and sort of tell me the colours that it's going to be painted. You get a feel sometimes for when a display model's working or when it's not working, and when you need to add different colours. And yeah, the Spanish guys are some of my biggest inspirations. Ruben Martinez, David Aroba. Got to meet those guys at SMC and Monty, and they were just awesome guys, and the way they approach painting is super inspiring. Ripper. I find contrast paint's really useful for a lot of applications. One of them is things like this mouth. You can just slob it in there and slob it and Milosevic it in there, and it'll fill in all the gaps pretty nicely. Good one, Flickster. That's what I call multitasking, mate. Well done. Oop. Yes, social distancing and work meetings has made working from home. When I was working from home, I got to watch a bit of the cricket. It was delightful. Like as a fan of cricket, I genuinely appreciated the way that the Indians played the series. It is going to go absolutely apeshit. And well, they should too. They deserve it. They were a team of absolute nuffies in some cases, and they put Australia to the sword. First time Australia's lost at the Gabba since 1988. Can you believe that? Mitchell Stark probably gets dropped. Was not his best series. I don't think if I was a selector, I'd be dropping any of the batsmen. If only because we just don't have anyone better to replace them with at the moment. Coolio. So we'll do some blood effects, some glossy blood effects after that's all finished. That'll look pretty choice. Remembers when people used to say choice? That was good. Hey, Shadows of Colours. I am indeed streaming on Twitch. You are one of my most favourite painters at the moment, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm loving it. Miniatures Den. Another one of my favourite painters. What's happening? Thanks, mate. To the 4 people watching my stream, if you don't already follow Miniatures Den, please do. Some of his recent work's been awesome. Particularly love that Mineworks games one you did, the Night Bells or whatever it's called. Awesome. Good ambience. That's usually when you improve, when you try new stuff, so keep doing it. Doopy-doo. He sure is. Ah, what a joker. And he did the lace on that other bust. The chick bust. Mate, I can't do that shit. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm lucky if I can paint in between the lines, mate. No, that's not Heavy Bodies acrylics. I'm all about that Vallejo premix in a colour pot, mate. And contrast paints. And I'm about to whip out my favourite colour right now. I've got a favourite contrast colour. This is my favourite colour. Peanut butter. So smooth you could eat it. Magnificent. Yeah, it's not super red. It's more of a yellowy orange. It's my favorite color. What are you working on now, Miniatures Den? Saw your Magnus the Red last night. Looking awesome though. Oh. Oh, what competitions you got up there? Yeah, Flickster. Up there, comparative to Australia, literally everything is up there, mate, except for Antarctica and New Zealand. Every other country is above us. Come on, mate. Yeah, except the Kiwis. and the Penguins. Mini's Den gets quite a few, I think. He had about 300 yesterday when I was watching, I think. I don't know too many. A lot of the guys that do Warhammer get a lot of viewers. Don't know that too many of the guys that do the same sort of stuff as me get. Yeah. Six is better than none. 6 is way better than none. Alright. So we're reaching a point on this Chicky Babe where I am ready to call her done. There is a few areas that need to be worked on, of course. This is about the time when other painters that are better than me go, I'm going to push through this annoying, crappy pain barrier and paint like a legend and keep going. And this is when I go, I'm going to start something new. Woohoo! So, take it from me, kids. If you want to be a good painter, you keep going. If you want to be a fast painter, you just do some tricks to get it finished, and then you start something new. Oh yeah, Wappelius. James Wapple. He's a cool dude. I've been on Twitch for precisely 1 week, mate, so I've got no idea who anyone is. Alright, so things I'm going to do. Going to do all these little doodads here. And these little doodads here. Thanks, Miniatures Den. You're a champion. Keep up the great work. I reckon I stumbled across that guy maybe 6 months ago. I saw his stuff on Putty and Paint, and he has super progressed in the last few months, I reckon. Really, some of the stuff he's done recently is awesome. So go follow him if you don't. I'm sure there's a way I could link his stuff Someone who's a good Twitcher, I'll link his stuff in there. Yeah, I'm pretty quick, mate. That's about the only thing I've got going for me. Not much else. My skin work. My skin work is probably the only thing I feel like I've progressed a long way in the last few years. I don't paint the backs because I'm lazy, not because I do box arts, mate. Come on now. The backs are super boring. Yeah, they're good fun. Get into it. Get into an airbrush, mate. Good fun. Yes, I do have a YouTube. I've done some sort of full painting videos. Mostly I just use it to upload videos of my finished pieces. But I have been transferring my streams over there as well. Yes, I'm not looking to make any money out of this, Jeffrey. I have a reasonably good paying job as it is. This is just for funsies. Actually, my motivation for doing this is fairly selfish because I found I taught some little classes last year, and I found that trying to explain why I was choosing to do things was really beneficial to me for understanding my own process. And so by putting some videos together on YouTube and having to explain what I'd done and why I'd taken the steps I'd taken, I just found that really useful. So I felt like streaming was a natural extension of that, and being able to explain things regularly and think a little bit more about why I'm doing them. Just helpful for me. Yeah, not hard up for a buck at this stage. But hey, you never know what happens down the track. Might lose my job. Good old COVID. might be looking for a new job, maybe I'll do a Patreon if I need a job. We don't all have partners that earn 7 digits or whatever the fuck she earns these days, Jeff. I was trying to convince my girlfriend the other day that I could be a stay-at-home dad and look after the dog, and she could be the main breadwinner. And I could paint. Didn't go down well. Yeah, definitely do, Dr. Flink. It's super easy, mate, to get involved. When I went to Monty for the first time, there was heaps of people that just got up and came up and had a chat to me because of knowing me from socials. So get amongst it, pal. So I think the one thing about social media, and I've spoken to a few of my friends at various junctures about it, if it's not working for you, it's shit. So I unfollowed everyone on pretty much all my social medias, and I just now follow a few very small numbers of people, just because I want to have control over what I'm looking at. And what I find then is I'm not going on there just to randomly look at stuff. And when I do go on there, it's because I have something to share. Doesn't work for everyone, I guess, but just do some curation. Oh yeah, and you gotta post regularly. Hey, Tui's here! Woo! Yeah, I think if you're gauging yourself versus social media, you're doing something wrong. I mean, people use social media to try and make things that make them think that their lives are better than they are. No, very rarely do you see people genuinely post anything on social media. It's all this curated rubbish. So just post what you want, mate. Get in there. Yeah, Dr. Flink, mate, at SMC, I was just lucky that a couple of the guys there had been chatting to him online, and had another friend who had already been there, Richard, and he sort of introduced me to a few of them. So I got chatting to a lot of the guys after all the awards and stuff, and that was awesome. So nerds aren't generally the best at communicating, so Sometimes you just have to do your best. Haha, no, I don't. I don't have a pug. I don't have a pug. He's a Chihuahua cross with like a fox terrier and all these other terriers. He's a little half blood scrapper. He's got an Instagram if you want to follow him. His name's Hugo the HBP, half blood pup. And he's the man. Oh, I don't understand what subbing is, mate. What does that mean? The only subbing I'm aware of is something a little bit more risque. I'm not sure I want to participate in that at this juncture in my life. Yeah, I got to talk to David too. He's a really nice guy. Not English is not his strong suit, but he loves it. He loves chatting. Ruben's the same. They're both willing to spend some time with me and have a chat. Loved it. SMC was the best experience. I just getting to walk around and meet my heroes, and I got to stand on stage with a couple of them, which was pretty cool. Unexpectedly. Can't miss too. He's very, very easy to find and very easy to talk to, I might add. Lovely character. What do I? Okay, let's go and have a look at my. Let's have a little break, and I'll go and have a look at my creator dashboard right now. Okay, clickety click. Twitch. Create a dashboard. Path to affiliate. I have achieved all of the path to affiliate things. Alright, let me read about it later on. The thing about this, I said it to a few people, it's the moment that you take something that you love doing as a hobby and you're like, yeah, I'm going to monetize this and it's going to be mad and I'm going to have an additional revenue stream and it's going to be sick. You just end up hating it. Like you stop liking it because it feels like a job. And so I just don't want to do that. I just want to have my hobby that I love and paint models that I want to paint, and if I'm fortunate enough to sell them to people who like what I do, then great, and if not, that's also great because I'm still getting to paint and enjoy what I'm doing. So, but who knows, I'll have a look at it, might not be that bad. Yeah, I do take commissions on occasion. I don't do a lot of commissions for the exact reason I just talked about before, but the commissions I'll take on will usually be when I love the model and it was probably something I was going to paint anyway. And I'll usually specify that I have no interest in taking creative advice and I'm just going to do it my way. And if they don't like it, they can fuck off. Whew, I don't know. I left it at Irresistible Force for a few months. Maybe I took it back. Maybe I sold it. I'm not sure. That was like 5 years ago, Jeff. Look, friends, I'll tell you right now, if you are going to Monty or Scale Model Challenge and you are there and you don't know anyone and you see me, you are always welcome to come up and introduce yourself to Big Deno. Say you're a massive fan of the channel, huge fan of his work, and my ego will force me to assist you in meeting as many people as you want. You don't count in that though, Ben. I won't introduce you to anyone. You're an embarrassment. Back in the good old days of my War Machine career, we used to have a little podcast that was moderately successful, and I got used to just many people coming up and introducing themselves to me and saying they were a massive fan, and I just had no idea who they were. Oh, fucking Deno, you're the best, man. How's fucking shit and stuff. I even had people ask for my autograph. I just had no idea who these peanuts were. Like, could not have told you any of their names. So I got really good at pretending I knew people and pretending I could introduce them to others. No, it did happen, Chum Dabs. It fully did. Go if you Google Oz Machine, mate, still the greatest and most widely loved podcast from War Machine history. We get people messaging me to bring it back every couple of months. It's just the trials and tribulations of being a celebrity, mate. Yes, exactly, mate. They're like, Deno, where is that collared shirt from? How much did you pay for that at Kmart? Kmart's the Australian version of Walmart. Cheap. It sure was. It sure was. And then it went to shit when they released way too many models and couldn't keep up with it. But in its heyday, geez, I was good at that game. Fuck, mate. I was good at that game. People that only know me for my painting have no idea how much of a maestro I was at the War Machines. Nah, mate, I'm not. I'm too out of miniature gaming now. I'm just enjoying this. Oh, Flickster, mate. I captained the Australian War Machine team 3 times. I was on fire. It was the best. Snick, son, g'day, mate. Yeah, board games and painting is my life these days. It's pretty good, mate. If you go and Google my name on War Machine, poof, mate, celebrity. I did some War Machine videos there on my YouTube channel too. It's great stuff. Get amongst it. Yeah, it's starting to reach a little bit more completion now, and you can see the things coming together. Collared shirt connoisseur. Uh, Benny, we so I got a regular group I play with every Tuesday. It's awesome. We've got a shit ton of games. Um, uh, and we talked about getting June, but at this point in time, if we're going to play a game like that, like a big, long um, area control game, we're probably leaning more towards like Rising Sun, Lords of Hellas, um, Twilight Imperium potentially, rather than try and get a new one. But I have heard good things. Oh, Wingspan's awesome. 3 times back to back War Machine captain. That is my new name. It's still very raw, mate. It's still very raw for me, the old War Machine days, because the number of times my team and I came fourth at competitions was just, oh, it was punishing. Still hurts. Still hurts. Yeah, Wingspan's really good. We have played quite a lot of that. The app's quite good as well. Um, uh, really like the new expansion too. The Australian expansion adds a good mechanic, and the ibis, the bin chicken, which is fantastic. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of Kingdom Death recently. I went through a bit of a spurt where I played a few campaigns solo and had a really good time. Painted all my models. Um, I can go and grab some if you want to see them. If you haven't seen them. But yeah, I haven't played a lot. I'm going to play a couple more campaigns when I get the Gambler's Chest, which is due to come out this year, but we'll probably see in 2050. Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep. That is a classic. I played that a lot. I didn't end up buying it because the app version's so good. Um, that version is so good. There's another game I've played on my mobile about 8 million times. It's called Through the Ages, New Story of Civilization. Wow, that is a game and a half, and the app is unreal, sublime. No, there's no need to GT because there's actually a Steam version of Wingspan, so we just play that digital. It's really good port. Wingspan's a really good game for people that maybe aren't necessarily into gaming. It's a really good gateway game into getting them to try it. Just because the art's very out there. It's not. I mean, the only real RNG is in the cards that you get dealt, but there is a mechanic for drawing more cards and different cards throughout the game. There's a little bit of luck to it, but I wouldn't say it's a very luck-heavy game. Chum does. Do you want my my autograph, Major? I'm going to send you an autograph. Picture of me in a collared shirt, holding up a War Machine trophy. Still got a couple of them lying around if you want. Keen on that, mate? Signed collared shirt coming up. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. No, not gonna happen. But I did get asked for autographs on many occasions. And photos. People wanted photos with me. War Machine Celebrity Pal. Just deal with it. Alright. Aha, Jim! See you, mate. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten to promote your new page. Chum Dabs, you painting. That's a good joke, mate. Good talk right now. Isn't it your page? Jim's Minis? Whatever the fuck it's called. Good question too. I probably prefer this because you don't have to create. You don't have to think as hard, and it's just an easy experience to just paint what you see. Probably lose a little bit of the personality. Why are you shutting it down, Jim? Don't do that. I want to buy soldiers from you, mate. It's an interesting question, and like the type of models I buy and paint tend to just be like the generic ones, because that's sort of what I'm most interested in. But every now and then you see a model that you just you really like, and It's not in that same vein, and like all of Lucas's sculpts are generally fall into that with me. They're not always like angry dudes. They're sometimes old ladies, but I think it's just the personality that comes through, and the feeling. Over the last 12 months, there's been a lot of models released, and I've bought a lot of them because I like a lot of them. But there's only been like one or two that made me just go, wow, I really desperately want to buy that model. So this was one, the Wind Rider from Robot Rocket. Blew me away first time I saw it. Really excited to paint it. And yeah, probably the one thing I was saying to someone the other day, I'm really enjoying conversions of artwork put into miniature form. Things like the Patrick J. Jones and the Brom stuff that's coming out at the moment. Like, I really love that stuff. I think it's a rich source of inspiration for both models and sculpts, as well as how you can interpret colours on things. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I am just enjoying what's coming out now. I don't really I'm a pretty generic guy when it comes to what I want from models. Generic and boring. Ah, cool. Well, I will be excited to see it, mate. Like, just to sort of extrapolate on that, too, I know what's that guy's name who's doing Nordless Miniatures? I've spaced on his name. Lovely guy. Jacob, something like that. Like, just in general, like, I like the idea of Nordless Miniatures and trying to do something different, but none of the models have really grabbed me. They haven't really appealed to me in terms of like, I want to paint that. They're cool models, but yeah, they're just not in my wheelhouse. Yeah, I bought in on the Cult of Paint Kickstarter. Got a couple of their models. I gave Andy a spray for not asking me to paint one of his box arts. Instead he got fucking Dave Colwell. Shit guy. Yeah, I don't think the models are bad. I appreciate them aesthetically, but yeah, they're just not something that I'm interested in painting. So, I can appreciate cool artwork, but at the same time, I buy models because I want to paint them and paint cool stuff. So, mate, David and I are very, very good friends in real life. He's a lovely man and far too nice which means I just get to hang shit at him all the time and he never bites back. Also, I'm 5 times bigger than him, so I'll kick the shit out of him if he ever talks smack to me. It's even worse because we're Australian, Flickster. Go hard out, mate. Yes, Andy Wardle. Lovely man. It's fine. Doesn't cause any problems. No, that was duck egg green and off-white, a mixture of the two. That's cool. I'm glad there's other Aussie streamers that are representing the Australian brand well. True, Jeffy. Alrighty then. So just in case you want to know how I clean out my airbrush, it's pretty straightforward. So I don't do a major clean out, I don't have to very often. This is just airbrush cleaner. This is just a convenient bottle that I use. So I just get an old synthetic brush and squidge it around in there, and on the end sometimes as well. And then just do a bit of backflow like this. So that's actually pulling the air back through the brush, and it's just cleaning the nozzle with the cleaner. So once I've done that, I spray that out, and then I'll just do the same thing with a bit of water, and just make sure that I've got all of it out. And that's usually all I need to do because I don't work with super thick paints. So that's usually enough to sort of clean the airbrush fully. Don't need to do too much more than that to sometimes it gets clogged up, sometimes it'll be dried paints, and that's when you do a full disassemble and clean. I've got two that I regularly rotate in and out of. So one is the Iwata HP B Plus and one is the HP CS. So this one is really fine tip needle, and I use that for really controlled sprays like what I was just doing there across that model. This one I use generally for my undercoating and varnish. I use my varnish for this one just because, as Chum Dab said, the varnish can clog a little bit easier because it's thicker, even though that AK is not that thick. I just like to do varnish and undercoat through this one. I've been able to do like pretty fine detail with this as well. Like I probably don't need to switch with it. I think it would be a matter of just really developing and practicing and getting some control. But why not just switch to the other brush so I don't have to learn anything? So that's how I mix in the pot as well. I just do a bit of the old backflow, mixes it in there. That's just my airbrush thinner mix. So I have a specific mix that I make. Let me just spray this varnish and then I'll explain what's in it. So the first thing I put into my cup is always this thinner mix. I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but I feel like that helps also with the clogging. Like I'm not putting thick paint in there first and letting the paint dry. The first thing I put in there is always the thinner. And then after that I'll add the paint or whatever else. So, but it's a mixture of three separate things. The first is airbrush thinner from Vallejo, about 45% airbrush thinner. I have used this X20 Tamiya thinner as well. The first time I used it, it was perfect. The second time I mixed it, I got some bad reactions with a couple of Vallejo colours. It wasn't all of them, it was just some. So I haven't used that since, but that's also usable. The second thing I mix in is water, 45% water roughly, and then the third thing I mix is this flow improver, about 10%. What I've found, the reason I do that is I found thinner by itself doesn't give me the consistency that I want. I found water by itself doesn't give me doesn't dilute the paint well enough and doesn't have the paint sit in the thing enough, and I found too much of this doesn't help. So I just felt by mixing the three of them together, it just gave me a nice combination. So that's what's in here. I just mix it up every couple of weeks. Yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, I use it for everything. So for varnishing, for undercoating, I'll mix that in. For any paints, and I use it about, most of my mixes are about probably 50% thinner, maybe slightly more. When I'm doing really thin glazes, it'll be less paint than that. It'll be more like 70%. And with like a varnish or a undercoat, it'll vary a little bit. So let's just spray this bad boy. Yep, spot on. just going to turn off my microphone. And we're back. Trying 9 in the morning. Alright, so, I mean, she's pretty much done. I want to do some blood effects on this guy's face down the bottom here. But I'll do that probably off stream so I don't get any blood effects on my camera because it can go everywhere. I just need to add this little rope. See you, chum dabs. Do that rope bit there. And then I might just work a little bit more on the eyes here. So we might do that now. And just tweak this edge again. So I did show and tell earlier. I might pull them out again just in case you guys weren't on the stream. Show you a couple of the models in my collection. Alright, let's do some show and tell. So this is Ben Curry. Picked this up from him in 2019 at Monte San Cedino. He actually entered it in 2018, Monte, so I love it. Little eyeballs down here. Oop. And then this one, which is actually a significant piece in my collection because it is the first piece that I purchased. It is called Estelle from Nocturna Models, and it was painted by Krzysztof Kobalczyk, a Red Ave miniature painter, and he wrote an article about this, how he painted it, and this was the first model I ever bought for my miniature collection because I just love it. I just loved everything about it, and yeah, I mean, so this is something you probably wouldn't know unless you've already painted the model yourself, which I have, I should add. This detail is painted on. That is actually a technique. He's created that there. It's actually just a flat surface. So that's actually his painting that's made that look like that. Yeah, so beautiful model. Let's zoom in real close on her face so you can see it. And then I'm going to bring up my version of this if I can find a copy of it. Oh, come on, catch the focus. Gone too far. Come on. Oh, the camera's struggling. That'll have to be the closest. Pretty good. Love it. It is indeed NMM Jeffrey, yes. Alright, so what we're going to try and do now, I'm going to try and bring up a picture of my one. Let's see how we go. Oof. This is an embarrassing share. Especially after showing that one. Alright, here we go. Stand by. That was my phone. I'm sure that was good to watch. Boom. Ho-ho. Alright, look at this. How good am I at techno wizardry, hey? So this is my version. Okay, I'm evidently not that good at techno wizardry. I want to scroll down. How do I scroll down? Scroll down. Lock. Lock. I don't know how to scroll down. I've done a shit job. Right click the source. Interact. Cool. Wait. Interact. Here we go. Look at this. Oh, look, I'm the man. Oh, shit. What have I done there? Oh, is that yours, Penny? Nice. The Ballsaurus is right there, son. I don't know how I went backwards there. This is going great. Don't look at my password. I saw you looking at my password. Alright. This is exciting viewing, isn't it? I gotta find her now. She's like 5 pages deep. This was a terrible idea. Why is it not letting me scroll down? Scroll down. I don't know. Look, this is going well. This is going well. Oh, there's some lovely versions here. None of those are mine. That's Colwell's version, actually. His is very good. Let's have a look at David's. I don't remember who that one is. Ignis. That's a really nice version too. Look at that. How come I can scroll this one? This is bullshit. Anyway, Dave's a wizard. All right, is that it, Benny? All right, hang on. I'm doing it. I'm really good at. No, I'm not doing it. I'm done. I scooped from this plan. If you want to go and see it, it is out there, ready to go. That's mine. Yeah, Putty and Paint is legit. It is legitimately awesome. There is some cool stuff on there. And there's also some of my stuff, which is a real shame. But you get to see good stuff like from 2A and Dave and other dudes that can paint. So this is almost finished now. For me, I am happy with a lot of aspects of this. So just to go through my thought process of the past stuff. You don't have to be good to get on that site, mate. Just paint stuff and put it up there. I use it more for myself as a record of my work and look through my progress than for the social media skill competitions. It's just all about looking at your progress and seeing when people appreciate aspects of what you've done, and sometimes they'll leave a comment to give you some feedback. So that's the go. This bad boy is pretty cool. You can see this area here. So this is an area where I did a lot of airbrush glazing with some thin colors. So there was a pretty harsh transition from top to bottom, as well as here with that transition that I added later. So doing those glazes just smooths and soften that out a bit. I did some orange over the hair, just to try and soften the dark and light, the gap between the two, by just adding that orange filter over the top of them. And then I did a lot of little bits and pieces just to try and tweak and smooth bits out. So probably the only things I would like to finish on this, I'll just do that rope really quickly. I'm just going to finish this axe blade off by adding this white line all the way across, like so. And then I want to add just a little bit more texture and contrast to this little bit of leather here, and maybe this little bit here. Maybe add some more green. But aside from that, she's pretty much done. And then I'll go on to the blood spattering later on. So, any questions about that process? So yeah, what's that been now? So she's about six-ish hours of work to do that, all done on stream. So, I did about half an hour off stream, which was this. I started the skulls. I wanted to do a bit of test painting before I turned the stream on, and so I did that. How often do I do that varnish? Probably 2 or 3 times. Pretty much any time I finish painting for a night, or if I use a lot of like contrast paints or inks, or satiny colours. So what I find is there's a lot of colours I really like, but they have varying finishes, and so by using a varnish you can homogenize all of those finishes so that they're all the same level of reflectiveness. What you often find is that when you take it down to a matte finish like this, it actually makes the model look worse, because a slightly satiny paint will reflect a little bit more light. It'll make your highlights look like they're slightly better than they are usually. So by having a fully matte version, you actually get a much better sense of if your model is actually looking good or not. And then it seals the work as well. Sometimes I've had it probably the hairdryer more than anything else, melting paint layers together a little bit, so you start to get a little bit of bleed across some colours, which I actually find really helpful sometimes. But yeah, it's mostly just to reduce the shine and bring everything to the same level of consistency, and to seal the work. So yeah, she's pretty cool. I'm happy with her. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to paint all that well on stream, but I got a new camera rig, and it's definitely not at all obtrusive. So that's cool. This was the guy I did on my first stream, so he's about 4 hours worth of work. The cricket is going off, by the way. I don't know if anyone here is watching the cricket, but crazy. Are you talking about the metal on the chick, Tui. Yeah, I did that in 4 hours on stream. Yeah. Yeah, as a conscious choice, I wanted the model to feel very harmonious, very warm, but then have the metal be quite a significant contrast from that, because I actually think this model's got a really interesting flow. I'll try and get it straight on, so straight onto the camera. Might zoom out a smidge. So I just really like the shape of this model. Like, I put it on a square plinth for a reason, because I felt like if it was on a circular plinth, you'd sort of turn it around. But I just really like all the angles on this. You know, I find them to be really interesting. And so, you know, you've got this one and this one. It's just a really neat sculpt. But my eyes are immediately drawn to the axe blade when I look at the sculpt. And so I sort of wanted that to be the starting point by making it very bright and more contrasted than anything else, and then have your eye naturally follow that line down to here and then sort of bounce around like that. So yeah, it's just, I just really loved the sculpt when I first saw it. So it could be framing. It's probably I do a lot of stuff unintentionally, to be fair. So yeah, that's sort of, I guess, why I chose to do them a little bit more heavily contrasted. I try to do metal more like this, which feels a lot more harmonious with the environment. But yeah, I wanted to do something a bit more aggressively metal. you're probably better at picking it than I am, mate. I just paint shit and hope for the best. So. Yeah, so this little vampire dude, started him on stream. The first stream I did, I didn't have a good camera. So the positioning of the camera wasn't as good. I've got a really mad tripod. You can't see it. Maybe I can just do this. You can see it. Ooh, a cool tripod that actually hangs over the top. So you actually can, I can move my arms, hello, underneath it. It doesn't impact me at all. This guy, I didn't feel like I was painting at my best when I painted him, which is why I sort of stopped and started on this chick. But yeah, I felt a lot more comfortable painting her. Maybe it's just practice painting on stream, I suppose. Yeah. So, but I want to probably finish this guy off. I probably won't do it on stream. I'll just add a little bit more. So the metal needs a little bit more work to just homogenize it and then tweak it, make it look more like metal. There's a few areas that don't look like metal to me. The sword looks good, but this sort of stuff isn't as convincing. This area is good, but yeah, the rest of it just needs a bit of tweaking. And then finish off his face. I was going to do a little bit of stuff around the bottom of the cloak, maybe, some embroidery. Yeah, Flickster, it's weird, hey, like, because the camera's sitting right there. Oh, huge swing of the bat. 6, oh my god. Oh, great finish in the cricket. Yeah, that's what I bought this tripod for, so I could actually, it wasn't specifically for streaming, it was actually for my filming videos, but so now I can sort of sit front on and have the camera be at a slight angle beside me. This is me sitting front on, holding the model directly in front of my eye line, and I can paint naturally like that. The angle's not perfect, like it's slightly angled, but I can also move like this and paint like this, which still feels pretty natural. So yeah, I got the tripod and a specific ball joint that lets you locate the camera exactly the spot you want to do it, and that's made the world of difference for feeling comfortable in the painting. So I don't know what we'll do next. For some reason, I'm not vibing on her. I'm not feeling it. I'm a very feel-oriented painter. I pulled her out and undercut her and assembled her and stuff the other day. I think really excited to do it, but then I just lost steam. Maybe the Dragon Rider. Yeah, this is a 4K camera. It is zoomed in, which is great. The ability to zoom in and still retain the quality is kick-ass. The problem I have with having it higher, I actually tried doing it higher up today, is my lights get in the way, because I really like to have my lights quite close. So I was finding that the lights were blocking the view from the camera. So this is the best of both worlds. So I do like this model, but I feel like we're going to hold off. So let's have a little bo peep at what we've got over here in the pile of things to do. So we've got Blood Temple from Mindworks. I like that one. I got this one from Alternity Miniatures, another bust. Some beautiful versions of that out there in the world already. But it's nice to experiment with a bit more non-metallic metal and maybe try and push myself on that. Some sci-fi stuff's mad. I have a second copy of Lydia, limited edition. Great model. Already did one of her back when I was shit at painting. So that's a reasonable candidate maybe. I don't know. I like to alternate between bust and figure, so maybe I'll do a figure. Could do her. Maybe this Brom, the harp chick, might be the go. Don't know, got quite a few things to tickle my fancy until my Camelot models get here. Or maybe it's the day. Wow, that's a great win by the Renegades if anyone's watching the cricket. Maybe it's time to crack one of the Lucas sculpts. Maybe I should paint one of the old ladies. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let's do it. Let's paint an old lady. Well, I don't know if before I start assembling the old lady, I'm going to tell you about my next project, my next big project after Camelot, or depending on when the models arrive, before Camelot. Has anyone ever read R.A. Salvatore's books? The Drizzt, Bruenor, Wulfgar. So I'm going to do a scene with all of the main characters from that book series. It's going to be called Icewind Dale, I think, or maybe Companions of the Hall. So this is Drizzt. I'm going to probably remove this wolf head. Doesn't feel very Drizzt-y. But yeah, that's the obvious model. That was the model that inspired it. So this is the model I've chosen for Caddy Bree. So it was quite hard finding a good model for Caddy Bree. This is there you go, Eileen from Nocturna. So the reason I chose that is just because of Icewind Dale being very cold. There's a lot of great Archer models, but none of them are wearing appropriate clothing. So I felt like I'll use that and I'll give her a bow, and that'll feel pretty right to me. She was never like very sexualized in the books, Caddy Bree, certainly not to begin with. Yeah, so there is actually a STL file of that game of this model on Joe Pilar's website. It's only 35mm, but I'm going to scale up the 35mm to 75mm for Guen, which would be mad. And then what we're going to try and do now is do some more great internet wizardry, and I'll see if I can show you the other models I've chosen for the various bits and pieces. Alright, here we go. Let's see if this one works. Is this shit house? Should I not? Yeah, I sell most of the stuff that I paint is done just for painting. Like I don't do a lot of commissions, so the pretty much every model I paint, I don't generally advertise it. People just send me a message and ask if it's for sale. So yeah, you're welcome to shoot me a message. No, I'm pretty reasonable. Like, so generally speaking, I mean, I sold this guy. I usually quote in US dollars. I sold this guy for $250 US, and that price includes shipping. So, yeah, it's not. I think that's pretty reasonable. To be fair though, I spent 5 hours on that guy, so that's a pretty good clip. Pretty happy with that. All right. So this is the model I chose for Regus, or Regis. I'm not sure how you choose to pronounce it. There's a few people who questioned my thought process on this one. I really like it. I'm adding the source now. Here it comes. Yes, just patience. Boom. Hey. Yeah, so that's my Regus. So 2 reasons I liked that. It's got the right feeling of him for me. Like he was in the first book, The Crystal Shard. He was doing a lot of whittling. You know, like while he had his back up against a tree over the lakes. Doesn't feel like much of a stretch to me that he might play a little harp thing. Good halfling models are hard to find that aren't like crazy warrior dudes. Yeah, so I feel like that's a nice fit for Rumblebelly. And then for Bruenor Battlehammer, I chose this dwarf. Let me find a good picture of him. Alright, I'll be loading that into the screen now. Hang on, where's my browser? Edit. Shit, how do I do it? Properties, yes. I'm the man. So good at this shit. So this is my Bruenor Battlehammer. So there's 2 things I'm going to do to this. The first is I'm going to obviously do the foaming mug standard on the shield. So I'm gonna change that shield up, trim that bit off, or maybe do the mug just in plastic card. Yeah, scale 75. And then he needs his horned helm. So what I'm actually going to do, the model comes with 2 heads. It doesn't have it has a non-helmeted head and a helmeted head. So I'm going to try and find a good horned helmet that's appropriately sized, and then I'll just chop that, put that on, and then take one of the horns off. He also needs an axe, but there's a fuck ton of axes out there. So that's Dritz, that's Caddy Bree, that's Bruenor, that's Regus. Wolfgar was actually the hardest one to come up with. And again, if you look at all of the poses, all of them, they're all sort of in repose, they're all resting. None of them are really like aggressive or in action poses. And that was the tricky part with Wolfgar. I found a couple of models that I liked, but he was just like running and shit. And it didn't, or just didn't feel right. So I ended up going with this one. And again, there was some question marks over whether this is the right feeling with his gear, the Metal Gear, Metal Gear Solid. But when I looked at the face, that feels like the right face for Wolfgar. Particularly at the time, yeah, and the hair. Particularly the time I'm setting it. So like I feel like this is Streams of Silver era of the book series. So he's young, and he's bare chested, and he's not afraid of anything, and he's got his hammer. So I need to get a hammer, but he's got the right pose. So I think I'm going to try and have the hammer have his hand resting on top of the hammer, and the hammer at repose as well. So that's where I'm at. I haven't got the models yet. I've only got those two. So the other ones are on order. I've bought them all. And so once I get them, I'll assemble them and come up with the right layout, and then I can decide what I'm going to do with Wolfgar and his hammer and Bruenor and his axe. Yeah, so that's the plan. So that's in my list of projects to do. I'm not sure when I'll get to do that. I want to do the Camelot one first, but if the Camelot models get delayed, I might try and knock that one out over pretty quickly. I mean, it's relatively easy for me to do a big model like that, and I can speak confidently about that because I just finished my Oz, which is sitting over there as well. Flickster, Instagram's fine. I don't really know how to chat on Twitch well, so Instagram, Twitter, send me a message on Facebook. I'm just going to see if my new camera angle can let me show off Oz a little bit, or if it's still too big. Still too big. Wizard of Oz. Way too big. Yeah. Here's a size comparison. Here's the bust we've just been painting. Wow. Shit camera work, but you get the point. Yeah, Fairy sold, Jeffy. Oz sold. So this is cool. I can show you some of the neato stuff I did that no one really gets to see. So down here is a little poster. It's got a heart on it, and he's got a little heart sticker on his chest. Underneath the scarecrow is a little poster that's got a brain on it, and over here is a poster that says "Courage Under Fire" underneath the lion. So that's pretty cool. I was looking for one that was going to hang here, which had home, as in there's no place like home. But yeah, obviously Emerald City. I don't know if you guys ever watched. There was a mini-series called Tin Man. Came out many years ago. And this is actually a sign from the Tin Man series. Milltown was a location in Tin Man, so that's a little reference to that. Sign was super easy. I won't share that tonight because it's don't want to give away all my tips in one stream, but they're really easy to do and really easy to integrate printed materials into a model and make it look good. Hey Dash Pole, thanks for following, champion. Yeah, so here's another little neato one, oil can. So this is an oil can for the Tin Man, and then there's a little bit of oil in there. She's obviously got her ruby slippers. I don't know if you saw, but he's got a little mask. See you, GT. Yeah, it's I'm pretty proud of this. I think there's a lot of things I did well on it. I don't know again if you can see in the photos, but there's actually straw coming out of his little boot, out of his little neck brace thing there. So yeah, cool, fun little piece. So I knocked that over in I think about 2 weeks. So I'll it weighs a lot. Yeah, there's the angle, looking at the Tin Man from this angle is my best NMM. Looking at it from this angle, it's not that good. That's the problem with it. This is the viewing angle of the piece, so you don't get to see that angle often enough. But anyway, it's quite heavy because this is a chunk of wood, so probably a couple of kilos. Yeah, while I was over at the cabinet, I thought I'd just grab a couple of Kingdom Death models, just a few little Kingdom Death jobbos. Did these guys real quick. Kingsman, what a champion! Look at him. Guess how many hours in this? I did it in 1 hour. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. This guy. Woohoo. Yeah. I showed how I did it in my video of painting the Gold Smoke Knight on my YouTube channel. But it's just practice. Looks lecky. I work with a South African. I'll ask him what that means tomorrow. Alright, so blood spatter on this chick, and then I'll take some finished photos of her, put her on my socials. And I'll try and finish this guy off as well. And then next stream, which I don't know when it will be yet, but it'll probably be on the weekend, we will paint this old duck, I think. Let's do it. Let's do this one. Old lady. Gotta smell this shit. Oh yeah, he puts some spray in there. Puts some spray in there. He does something. His Mrs. Irene does it. Adds just a little touch of class. Look at this, lovely. Yeah, she's awesome. So we just got to choose the right plinth for her. Oh, she's got a little. Oh, that's right. She's got this little birdie. This little froggo trying to jump out of here. So what plinth do we want to use? What do you think about that one? Might be a bit big. Did you get the Elf Rider shadows? Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I actually talked about that earlier in my stream. That was the first Lucas sculpt I ever bought for myself, like from him directly. And yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorites. The musculature of his pieces blow my mind. I got this one. Nah. It's cool plinth, but I'm going to use it for something else, I think. That's awesome. I think it's Alessandro, is it? That's awesome, mate. I can't wait to see your version of it. I might have to go to my default. Haha! The Kmart locks! You'd be surprised how often they're a good fit. Yeah, the anatomical is just... It's just a masterclass in sculpting on the Elf Rider. The hands, I just love the shape of his hands. One of the things, probably the only things I regret in my painting career is some of my absolute all-time favorite models I painted because I loved them, but I could do such a better job on that model now. Man, I could crush that model, hey. That'd be fucking awesome, but I've already painted it, so I can't. Look at this. So good. Alright, I think I'm going to have to go and see my plinth maker because I'm running short of plinths as it is. So I don't feel like that's a good fit. I like the circle ones, but the circle. I wish I did, but no. Most of my stuff I sell, so I don't have anything I can paint over. I have recently started painting a few like bits that I've done before. Like I bought that Nico Galaxy Lydia bust. And I've got a few over there. Like I've got the Walrus Man. I've got a second copy of him. And I'm gonna try painting a couple more pieces for a second time just to see how I approach them differently, and then compare the two results. Because I think I did Lydia a long time ago now. I did a little Pokemon symbol on the back of her shirt, which is cool. But I would approach it so differently now, and I think it would be cool to see that progression. So that's certainly on my list of things to do. Chris is just a legend. Loved his Valkyrie's piece, the triptych of the three things that ended up becoming four. Awesome models, awesome concept. He chatted to me a little bit during the construction of that. We bounced some ideas back about it. He blows my mind with the way that he approaches the story of his models. That's what I love about his work. I recall his rendition of the Boudica. Off the top of my head, I don't remember his Elf Rider. Yeah, that's awesome, Kung Fu. I think there is a point where you just get sick of painting, and I think that's my main mantra with painting is just paint because I enjoy painting. Like I don't force myself to try and be immaculate and perfect. I just enjoy painting, and so if something got boring or frustrating, I'd probably just be like, fuck this. I'm going to look at that now. Ah, beautiful. No, I didn't see that. Yeah, I love the Pinto. I love the Pinto. I'll share a picture of my version. It's a long time ago now. I mean, there's a lot of things I regret about this paint and what I would do differently. Alright, it's loading now. Why are you not working? Oh, that's cool. I can do it in... Yes. Oh, this is great. I just figured out how to hide it away until it's ready. Boom! Technology. So good. I'm the man. I'm the best Twitcher ever. Yeah, so that's my version of that. There's just so much about it that I would do differently now. Yeah, studio mode. Yeah. Fuck yeah, so good. This was done uh, nearly 4.5 years ago. And it was one of my first Lucas sculpts that I ever painted. Oh, TD's back. The guy who stole my name. What a champion. Yeah, and so like, well, I guess back then I wasn't confident in skin tones. It was like my biggest weakness. Probably one of the reasons why I've improved on them is because I just spent so much time trying to get better at them. But it's just the skin's very pallid. There's not a lot of life to it. The fabric is very one tone, one note. The horse is pretty good, but the actual paint has texture on it. I use textured paint for that, so it actually looks pretty good in the hand. But yeah, just a lot of things I would love to redo on that model. Alessandro, I can't wait to see your version, mate. That is just going to be deluxe. Some of your stuff recently has just been blowing my mind. Well, this is going to be awesome. You guys are going to be able to watch me cut my finger on stream, live on stream. And the number of cuts I've had from using a scalpel, I'm sure you've all lived through that before. One thing I bet you haven't lived through before is how I get past that to just keep going. And I use super glue, and then I put super glue over the cut, and then I use a zip kicker, the thing that makes it dry quickly, to seal it. It's actually what super glue was invented for. Oh yeah, good call. Stupid. I'm not that good at Twitch yet, evidently. Remove. Yes. I'll get there one day, friends. Maybe. Yeah, get some super glue and put it on your cut, on your gaping cut, and then just use a little bit of old accelerant, and it'll seal that up, and you can just keep going. It's like Puke and Rally in miniature form, I think. I wonder if that's a uniquely Australian term, Puke and Rally, or if that other people understand that. The term Puke and Rally is when you are out on the terps or having a lot of alcoholic beverages, and you vomit because you've drunk too much alcoholic beverages, but then instead of calling it a night, you get back in there, you rally, and you go again. you get back into the beverages. So puke and rally means you go too hard and then you get punished, but then you stand back up and go again. It's out in the terps, it is alcohol. Yep, another Australian expression. So puke and rally is when you fuck up and you just go at it again. So super glue accelerant is my way of puke and rallying when I cut my finger. Look at this girl, she's amazing. Blah, 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 blah. Excellent. Hey, where's this birdie go? Oh, here. Yes. So good. Thanks, Alessandro. You're amazing, mate. Hopefully see you again soon. I'm actually finishing up now anyway. It's 10 o'clock on the dot, so heading to bed. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on the stream tonight. I think I've got a scheduled Monday night stream for me, which is Monday morning for many of you all, which I'll probably do every week. And then I'll try and do one or two others, non-scheduled, just rando, when I can. Enjoy. Thank you. See you all. Yes. No, you're awesome. You're awesome too, eh? Celery, you're a champion as well. Ben, you're average. Flickstar, champion, thank you. Dr. Flink, superstar. Ben, useless. Give up, son. Go back to painting Gundam or something. Nah, you're a good kid. Keep up the good work. Good night, all. Please.